Okay, today here on the show floor at the SCA Expo, I'm looking for information about a machine called the Eversys. I'm looking for a machine for a client, specifically the Eversys, that we want to consider for their operations. So let's go and find out here at Eversys what it's all about. I have a client, prior to the pandemic, they built a restaurant. They built a cafe component. So they put in a 3-group Simonelli Appia 2, which is fine. But as we've been talking to them about what they want to do as they get closer to reopening their cafe, the restaurant, of course, has servers. And they don't necessarily want to focus on hiring baristas and training baristas, which I totally get as an operator myself. And I tried these machines in Saudi Arabia a couple years ago, and for one of the judges' calibration, we used the machines. And I was really, really impressed with the quality of the espresso and the quality of the milk. And so as my client and I were talking, it's like, would you consider this level of machine? He's like, I'm totally open to that. And so I wanted to get a full rundown about what I should be looking at, what models are available, and which one should I really be considering?
We'll just start with base level of Eversys tech. So every machine within our range all comes with the same technology. So no matter which machine you choose, you'll get the same benefits of the ETC espresso system, the Everfoam milk steaming, and if you so choose, the internal milk steaming system as well. So we'll kind of go through the range. We'll start with Cameo right here. This is probably one of our most popular machines, if only because it's got a really nice footprint. It's easy to fit into an existing bar. It has 2 hoppers. You can usually do regular or decaf, or if you want to do a single origin and a blend, that works too. Fully automated cleaning process with these handy dandy little cleaning balls. All you have to do is run the cleaning cycle at night. It can happen automatically, and you are good to go. So as far as coffee goes, in terms of how we make it, we are looking at the same things that you would look at while preparing a traditional shot of espresso. We're looking at dose, we're looking at time, and we're looking at volume. We can program your desired volume, your desired dose into a recipe, and then we go ahead and we run what we call ETC on it, it's extraction time control. It's an algorithm within the grinder that says, I want my espresso to come out at, let's say, 26 seconds, plus or minus 3 seconds as my range. If the last 5 shots that the machine has pulled average to outside of that 26 plus or minus 3 range, then it'll go ahead and change the grind size to be within that time range once again. So it'll, if you're pulling 100 shots a day, it'll go ahead and make sure that it's pulling at the correct time for the entire day. So, we've all been there where you dial it in at 7 in the morning, and then by 11 o'clock it's totally somewhere else. Our system will self-adjust so that you never run into that problem. Yeah, so it's pretty neat. Makes coffee taste pretty good. We're pretty happy with it. The Everfoam steam wand system here. So if you want to back up and take a look at the screen here, this is what a typical screen might look like here. We've got espresso functions on the left, and then steam functions on the right, and then these are programmable to whatever you want them to be. So latte steam, cappuccino steam, for instance, it's all based off of this thermometer inside of the steam wand right here.
Okay.
You stick a pitcher of milk in there, press go, and it'll automatically aerate the milk until a certain temperature, and then it'll go ahead and stop the milk when it's at your desired temperature as well. So fully customizable Everfoam settings. So you can see I've got my latte, extra hot, cappuccino, extra dry. We've had customers do wet cappuccino programming, cortado programming. So really just whatever makes the most sense for your system there. But either way, that's the kind of core technology within espresso and steaming functions. Let's walk around to Enigma over here. So Enigma 2-group model, you can see that you've got 2 group heads. So if you are looking at the question of which machine do I buy, you can say you're pulling a double shot of espresso roughly once every minute. You can go, of course, faster than that, but if you're talking like a 26-second shot, there's some grinding time involved, there's some reset time involved. Ends up being about 45 seconds on the whole, but easier to say, roughly once a minute. So if you think about a brunch service, perhaps, right? 4 top comes in, they all order cappuccinos, another 2 top comes in, they order lattes, right? Then you may be looking at a period of time, a period of 15 minutes, where you are stressed and you want to get a lot of coffee out the door. That's where doubling your production comes into play. So,
but the technology in this machine is the same.
Right? 2 hoppers, cleaning ball, dispenser in the middle, and all the same settings. This one is set up to be a self-serve machine, so great for offices, airport lounges. You go ahead, stick a cup underneath, you say I want a latte, it gives you a latte. So we take milk from a fridge that's currently under the counter, and then it will froth it and then dispense it at the spats there.
Now, when you say that this is self-service unit, how does is there a barista mode or something, or a non-self-service mode?
Yeah. So that machine over there, barista operated. Yeah. The kind of really cool thing about our entire lineup is that it's very flexible for whatever setting you're putting it into. So, that Cameo over there is the workhorse of a lot of cafes and bakeries and such. But we've also seen it go into offices, and it can be a self-serve machine for a small office or something like that. So pretty flexible. But to kind of cap out the range here, this is the Shotmaster Pro. So we can see we've got 4 group heads here. So this is really taken off with the rise of cold drinks on the market.
Cold drinks?
Yeah. I mean, like iced lattes, iced Americanos just going through the roof.
When you say it's taken off with
the popularity of those
drinks.
drinks.
What has made this become the darling of that?
You just need more shots. People want more shots. Yeah. You don't necessarily need more milk and steaming capabilities. The bottleneck becomes shots at that point, right? People want extra shots in their large iced latte. They want more and more and more. So having extra group heads really helps in that regard.
So just having the 4 group heads is what
Yeah, totally. Yeah. I mean, again, that 4 top comes in. You need to make a lot of drinks in a short amount of time. 1, 2, 3, 4. You'll get 4 shots in under a minute, which is crazy.
So when it comes to these machines, how do you go about setting it up?
Yeah.
Is it just it'll automatically do it for you, or do you have to actually go in there manually?
Yeah. I mean, you just have to, you have to program it. You have to tell it how much volume to pull. You have to tell it how much coffee you want in there. But then once you calibrate it, good to go. Just setting up this menu here. You can customize it however you like, and make sure that it works for your restaurant, your operation, your setting.
So when it comes to daily operation, a frontline worker only has to worry about filling the beans, is that right?
Pretty much, yeah. And and again, all these buttons here can be programmed to whatever you want them to say. So we've had operators say espresso goes in every drink, but then you go ahead and you build out your entire menu on the screen here to make it easy to say like, hey, press this button for this, press this button for that, pour it into the cup, serve it out.
And how much will the bean hoppers hold?
They're about 1.8 kilos or something like that, so 2-3 pounds. Holds a good amount. Yeah.
And then milk is stored internally as well, or?
External milk fridge. If you're doing a milk system, such as this one, where, I suppose we should make you a drink.
Okay, very good.
I've been talking for long enough. I should make you a drink. So we'll go ahead, we'll get my espresso queued up, and I've got a milk fridge underneath that has a gallon of milk in there, and then milk will get sucked up into the machine, and then I'm going to ask it to dispense some milk out the front.
So it's now going to dispense cold milk?
Automatically frothed, texturized.
Oh, automatically frothed. Okay.
Beautiful milk.
So did you start out as a barista? Is that why you're involved with the Latte Art Championship?
Yep.
Okay.
I judged barista.
All right, so let's see the judge in action.
Oh gosh, I can't do a seahorse, but I can do a tulip at least.
All Asians are supposed to be able to make dragons.
Is that right?
That's what I was told.
That's news to me, but here's a wing tulip for your troubles.
Looks great. Look at that. That's really pretty.
Yeah, really, really
so
nice.
So super automatic can do it.
Natural Colombian and washed Ethiopian. Really quite nice.
Yeah, very pleasant, very pleasant. The milk steaming is really surprising. Well, I guess I'm not really that surprised. We've used this before, so. But if you think about super automatics, it's very surprising.
What happens?
What about maintenance?
Maintenance. The entire machine we recommend on an annual PM cycle. The components inside are rated for that annual cycle, more or less. If you're super busy, it is cycle based. So for instance, the brew chamber inside here that's making your coffee, each side is rated to 50,000 shots. So if you are cranking out shots like no other, then you're going to have service a little bit sooner than that 1 year mark, of course, but that's true of any equipment. So.
When it comes to the group head, when you say servicing, is it just I noticed that on the breakaway machine there, there's a whole, looks like it's a whole unit that just slides out.
Exactly.
Is it basically you just swap them out? Is that it?
that's the beauty of the Eversys system. So Eversys actually does stand for Everlasting Systems. It's the kind of the idea of the co-founders that you're supposed to be able to just swap out those modules, the fully module based.
That's a user serviceable thing?
It could be with proper training. The whole idea behind it is that if something, let's say something terrible happens, you're down, we don't necessarily want or need to have a service technician. We've all been there before. They take apart the machine, they're there for 5 hours, they try to put it back together. It's not a great time. We can instead just ship them an entire module, they swap it, you're back up and running. So.
And what does that cost?
It depends on the machine, depends on the model.
But let's say this model here.
A swap would be 500 plus labor.
Oh, okay.
600. Maintenance-wise, compared to, for instance, a quarterly PM cycle for traditional equipment, it's very comparable.
Yeah.
We usually see that at the
$50,500 is not terrible.
Yeah, for a swap,
Yeah. And that would be, you would normally swap everything?
Brew module, yes.
Okay. Yeah. Since we're dealing with milk, is there daily cleaning for it?
Yes.
Or what does that entail?
Yep. Yeah, you put some cleaning solution in the milk container, run that solution through the system, and then flush it out.
And then the similar for cleaning the group head per day? On a daily basis?
It's these cleaning balls I showed you at the beginning. Yeah, that drops one of these into each of the brew chambers there. And then...
So is this like a hopper for cleaning balls?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Balls right up.
Oh. So can we look at these three models? Is that pretty much it for the lineup?
Yeah, I mean, it all comes in like different configurations, and that one's the milk-specific Shotmaster, that one's a steaming-specific Shotmaster.
What does that mean, steaming-specific?
So that one does not have the internal milk system.
Oh, you mean the auto frothing?
Yeah,
okay.
Exactly.
So this one you just do manual frothing?
Yep, yeah, and again, that manual frothing is still pretty easy to operate. You just get your milk in here, put it in there, press the steam button, and it'll take care of the rest. So let's grab some espresso.
All right.
So I got my espresso, I got my milk in my pitcher. I'm gonna steam a latte. We're automatically texturizing the milk, putting air in there. And then once it reaches the desired temperature, it'll stop aerating.
And the desired temperature is user settable, is that correct?
Yeah, exactly.
Story.
Some trade schools somewhere.
Go ahead.
So this thicker housing is part of the whole aeration system, is that right?
Yeah, it's got a temperature sensor in there. It's got just a steam hose in there, and there's my latte milk, nice and shiny and glossy. Go ahead and pour that in there.
Here he is.
And there we go.
So there is a little bit of a texture difference between the two.
Yep, and that's customizable. This is, I could go ahead and turn it down.
How are you doing?
I'm good.
I'm good.
You like Eversys?
I'm very interested.
We talk. I just joined them
Oh, yes?
2.5 weeks ago.
Oh, okay, great. We'll talk.
Yeah.
Right. So looking at this, I can go ahead, turn down my foam texture power. We've got an air pump inside the machine. That's currently set to about 50. My first time using this milk, so I could go ahead, turn it down a little bit.
Okay, so this result here is not necessarily because it's an external steam system than internal.
Yeah. I've seen our milk system, this external steaming system, with the milk that I have back in New York, works beautifully.
Since this came from the internal system, It was definitely smoother.
My espresso consumption has skyrocketed since joining Eversys.
All right, Excellent.
Yeah.
David?
Go.
Thanks, man.
Of course.
But that's basically the Eversys. So the Eversys is really interesting. The shots are really good. Always much better than I expected them to be originally. Like I said earlier, this is something I'm looking for one of our clients, and I think it has a lot of promise for their application. One of the things to consider is that, the purists of you may be wondering, why are you looking at SuperAutos? Isn't that like sacrilege? Sure, it's sacrilege. Of course it is. I'm a craftsman. I like to do it by hand, but we also have to look at what are the needs of a specific operation, and so when the client needs to have something that's easy to use, relatively automated, something with less training, I think the Eversys is really a great device because the shots that I've had on it, stuff that I've made at the past, like I mentioned, we use them in Saudi Arabia, have been really surprising, really impressive. So that's really the main reason why I was recommending this system to our client. And now it's still a conversation about what do they want to do? Do they still want to go with it? So that's still to come. But that's pretty much the Eversys system. Thanks for tuning in. See you later.